Hey, good Tuesday morning, everybody. This is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Get ready for some wet weather the next couple of days. We started talking about this over the weekend that the pattern setting up was going to be pretty soggy, and now we're starting to see that come to fruition today. First things first, here's a look at the radar, and I've also got the flood watches in effect. So you can see the flash flood watches up in all the counties shaded in green. Now, this is in effect until Thursday at 8 p.m. So this is a 3-day watch, which is up for all of the western Carolinas into northern Georgia, even down to Atlanta. You can kind of see where that flood watch is. And I'm going to take that off for a second and also show you where we're going to see the excessive rainfall, which I think tells a lot about what's going to be happening over the next couple of days. This is what we call the excessive rainfall forecast. So you see the area in yellow, that's the area where we have a medium threat for excessive flash flooding over the next 24 hours. Now, if we go to tomorrow, you can see that yellow area expand. So that's the threat for tomorrow. And if I go into Thursday, which is day 3, you could see all of the western Carolinas in that a huge area of excessive rainfall. Now, the reason we're seeing these excessive rainfall outlooks is because one look at the water vapor loop kind of tells you what's going on. If you look very carefully, we've got this upper low, which is coming out of Missouri and Arkansas, pushing to the east. We've got a big influx of deep tropical moisture. Now, what this does is this low is not only bringing in tropical moisture, but the winds in the mid-levels, and you'll see this when it loops, are going like this. We call that divergence in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. When the air spreads out like that, it pulls air up from the surface. It creates almost like a vacuum, like a suction, and it pulls the air up. And when you pull warm, moist air up, you get it into the atmosphere, it cools off, it turns clouds. Anytime you want to see showers, thunderstorms, or heavy rain, you need to lift the surface air. Fronts do this, low pressure systems do it, but also this mechanism of divergence, which is basically creating a vacuum in the atmosphere, will actually help lift that air as well. And that's what's going to cause all of the rain. Now, this is a product you may have seen me use a couple times on air. It's something we call Priciple Water. Just think of this as the amount of moisture in the atmosphere from the ground to the very top. And when we look at this, anytime I see these bright oranges or getting up into the reds or even the pinks, that is basically tropical air. And you could see the influx coming all the way from Central America up into the southeast. There's a big plume of moisture. Sometimes these can take on the appearance of an atmospheric river, but in this case, that is a lot of moisture coming north. And this is the model look at the same thing I just showed you. So this is the European model showing you over the next 12 to 24 hours. Look at that deep tropical moisture over us, those pinks, kind of peach colors, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird color. Oranges, pink, peach, sitting right over the western Carolinas. It'll come in surges through Thursday afternoon, and you can see even on Thursday into early Friday some of that pink there. And again, those are areas up around 2.5 inches of what we call precipitable water, which really sets the stage for potential flash flooding. Okay, so this is just the next 18 hours. So this is our Futurecast over the next 18 hours as we go into the afternoon. Notice right about lunchtime, this seems to be midday is when things really start to crank up. You can see the scattered showers and storms developing as we go towards 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Look at the pockets of heavy rain. Now, this is the thing about this setup. It's not going to rain everywhere all day, but once these showers and storms develop, if you're under them, they're going to be very efficient rainfall makers because the atmosphere is saturated like a giant sponge. Once you touch it, boom, tons of water comes out, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain in a very short period of time. And if the same areas get hit again and again, you could see this is going into 1 o'clock in the morning. There's definitely an axis of very heavy rain that seems to be getting hit again and again right in there. So that's the concern over the next 72 hours, that we're going to see areas get hit again and again. So while the flooding might not start immediately, after 12, 24, 36 hours of this, there's going to be some issues with flooding. So all that being said, you can kind of see where we're going to have some issues with flooding potential, because if you look at this chart right here, this is showing the potential for heavy rainfall. This area in kind of peach is about 4 to 6 inches of rain, and then you've got basically 3 to 5 inches up through here with 2 to 4 back towards the Charlotte area. So this potential for some really heavy rain in this area is really going to pile up over time, and this will cause issues over the next 3 to 5 days. So here's just another look at that exact same product I showed you. It's the forecasted rainfall totals out to 7 days, basically 168 hours in this graphic. And you can see these areas in the western part of the upstate into North Carolina. You're talking 5, 6, 7 inches of rain. Up against the Blue Ridge, some areas could be approaching that as well. And across the Charlotte area. And again, these won't be specific amounts in your backyard. Just think of this as a general trend. It's impossible to tell you exactly how much rain will fall in your yard. It's more about this 2 to 4, maybe 3 to 6 inch range, depending on location. I think 3 to 6 is a good bet across the mountains with higher amounts, and then 2 to 4 across the Piedmont with higher amounts as well. So that's the potential flash flooding we're going to look at over the next couple of days. Please stay weather aware if you're in a flash flood prone area. The other thing to look out for, while there's not a huge severe weather threat, I don't expect a lot of wind. There could be a little. When the ground gets saturated, trees still come down in very light winds. 30-mile-an-hour wind will bring a tree down once the ground gets saturated. So heads up for those trees and limbs, which could come down in some of these heavier downpours as we get over the next couple of days. I'll have updates throughout the day, of course, starting today at 4, 5, and 6 on NBC Charlotte. I'll see you then.